This is Calicat, the Calicatster, and this is a review of the other He-Man series that finished up almost 2 years ago, before this other one. I didn't know that it finished up. The other one is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe 2021. Came around the same time as the Kevin Smith one, but is actually its own separate entity, where it's kind of an alternate version of the Princesses of Power, where the children are the teenagers, I guess, are the He-Man characters. It's the odd one with the funny-looking Uncanny Valley He-Man characters. Last two reviews of this were the other two seasons 1 and 2, and this would be the remaining 7 episodes comprising the season 3, what amounts to season 3. Altogether, 26 episodes. It's more like a Japanese animation thing. It isn't Japanese animation, no. It is CGI in the tradition of Beast Wars and other things. A number of other things. It's not Pixar. It's Netflix. I guess they're not going to make a Netflix live action Masters of the Universe, but you'd figure that with Mattel having made $1 billion on Barbie, they're going to do a Masters of the Universe movie, and that's why Netflix isn't. So Mattel and the studio doing Barbie are going to do that. That's why Netflix cancels. There's a chance. Hopefully they will not do it like the 87 one, and won't film it entirely in LA on the cheap. Don't do that. Find weird places and fantastical lands to go to. Don't just make it like 10 minutes of it in Eternia. It has to all be in Eternia. And this show, last time we left this show off, though, it was the Masters of the Universe are children, basically. Young teens, I guess. They all have... they're different in this universe, so they all have... we have Ram Man, Many Faces. Other ones, Many Faces is a different one. Many Faces is an old guy with the faces in this one. Ram Man is Ram Mam, which sounds dirtier somehow. And she's gone to the dark side, and the Havoc thing is there. And Skeletor basically the plot is Skeletor wants his body back. He's gonna steal King Grayskull's body, and somehow reanimate his own, kind of like Megatron did in Transformers Prime when he got a hold of the Hand of Prime. Also kind of like a Highlander kind of thing. The bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh thing from that old classic thing. I think it was a Shakespeare idea. I don't recall the bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh thing being that wasn't Shakespeare. Well, it was Shakespeare originally, but it was some other sci-fi story that did that. So we had that's a trope, the bad guy raids the tomb and gets his zombie army on and all that. But yeah, so you have He-Man and the Sorceress is Teela in this version. So that goes back to not the OG universe, but the other one, the later one, the 2010s one. So you have that going on, and you have people reviewing the current Kevin Smith one, Revolution, which is the other one that I reviewed yesterday, giving it favorable ratings, more so than the other ones. Of course, some of the right-wingers can't stand it. But they seem to be ignoring this one, which is actually more uncanny and has less of the lore. The Keldor uncle thing is already known. This one is going in a different path. It's following some of the same beats, though. In this one, they build up to similar events. Destruction of one base or the other base. And of course, Skeletor God, Skell God thing shows up at the end. They got to fight him. There's earlier kaiju's earlier in the merman lair, which is all frozen. And since it's animated, they can say, well, this frozen land would instantly freeze them all to death, and they can dump them into the water, put them under the ice, and rescue them, go back and forth. And it doesn't matter because it's a cartoon. You have Eternia being a bit like a board game, a sort of a pseudo D&D, Lord of the Rings type of thing anyway, mixed in with Conan, which is what He-Man was originally. So that works. Yeah, some of the designs are weird. Robot vehicles are a bit reminiscent of Transformers, of course, because there's a little bit of trans tech in there. They even have one of the characters say a Cal-Cat line. It's always in the last place you look. The Cal-Cat line. So yeah, apparently the very last line in it is by a returned Hordak, which is kind of like the Kevin Smith one, the previous one. And there's a Hordak in that. But this Hordak was played by the late Kevin Conroy. Just before he died, he played the role of Hordak popping in. I'm assuming that that they can't really do any more of them though, because they kind of ended it right there. They could stop if they wanted to, and it's an ending. but yeah, they have to rescue the girl. But upon trying to rescue the girl, they're swallowed this giant basilisk-like snake. And Harry Potter did not think of the giant basilisk snake. They just stole the idea from somewhere else. The giant world serpent, giant snake thing goes back to at least the legends of the Prose Edda and the Prose Erotica from way back to the Norse gods. And one of the Norse gods was a world serpent that surrounded the world, a big snake. So yeah, because they thought it was in the ocean, but it was above ground as well. Because they saw this stream in the sky that went all the way across, the stream of stars, all the way around in the sky. They thought that must be a serpent surrounding the Earth. Yeah, because I guess up north that would have looked like the Milky Way galaxy, basically. They didn't realize that's what they were looking at. Anyway, but yeah, that streak across the sky was not the serpent's path. It was the Milky Way galaxy. Which, if you leave the Earth, you see that it's all around space. But yes, so this one, the universe is threatened because Skeletor is going to find the heart of the universe after he gets resurrected, and we have the message of family and cooperation and all that because it's a kids show. It's more of a kids show. I guess the haters were not too keen on it to rip on it because it's a kids show. Well, He-Man was originally a kid's show. I hate to break this to them. The original He-Man was ridiculous. I mean, yeah, we all like it because of nostalgia, but wow, if they're trying to get to the next generation and the Zoomers, they're gonna have some interesting challenges. So this one has to be all hyperactive and weird and trippy. And it is funny that one of the they do all this funny stuff. Yeah, the visuals is odd, but there's a meme about a little creature coming out of a toilet called a skibidi, and this was popularized by the Vine Sauce videos as well as other ones. He learned about it and then he popularized it. The skibidi toilet monster. There is a scene in which there is a skibidi. Look for it in this episode. There's one. She sits on a toilet. There's a toilet in Eternia. Who knew? In the castle. They have plumbing and they have a toilet. I don't know if it's a skibidi, but it's the toilet the skibidi would be in. And but yes. So that's funny. They use magic and science together. Orko in this universe has been long gone, and he's this robot has taken on his memories, and he has to go and help He-Man to get back his powers from being zapped by the Havoc. The Havoc snake ate him. He was down in his stomach, and it got all over him, and it messed with him and made him Savage He-Man, which is similar to the Kevin Smith ones. They have some of the beats from the other one, and originally the Savage He-Man was an attempt to make him sound more like Conan. See, He-Man was originally a ripoff of Conan the Barbarian, which is a popular comic book series and then movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger series of movies. I'm surprised that in 1987 they didn't just, instead of casting Dolph Lundgren, didn't just cast Arnold Schwarzenegger. He would have done it back in the day. That would have made sense. I've already played this character. What do you mean? That's why I didn't want to do it. Give it to Dolph Lundgren. He was in Rocky. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. So yeah, we have Skeletor trying to get his body back. He gets Rampage Crass's help to get back. There's parallels of that character with the Trans Tech character Road Rage and Rampage. Also with Crash, the Klingon officer from. So it's as if Cal Cat helped to write this kid show. He didn't, but it's weird. It's like they're obviously aware of our stuff. Been watching it, but yeah, the other ones too. The Tinker guy and the He-Man guy and the Sorcerer Lady, all that. But yeah, we were maybe the source material we were thinking of He-Man. So. Anyways, great minds think alike. It's literally Conan meets Dungeons and Dragons. That's literally what it is. The whole show, and it is a kids show. It's silly, and it's also very gay coded, especially the more Kevin Smithy one. This one actually has a Kevin Smith in it as a character, but it's interesting that there's like a. So he was involved in both of them in some way, but yeah, and then some of the haters were saying he wasn't a fan of the show when he tried to do his own thing. They're just quoting J.J. Abrams saying he wasn't a Star Trek fan. Kevin Smith never said he wasn't a fan. He just didn't know all the lore is what happened. This is why where Evolution comes around, then he learned the lore. Probably ought to learn what the lore is before you do your own version. Just saying, learn your own version. Yeah, so the visuals in this are out there. There's CG. It's all CGI with some. There's an episode that doesn't actually need to be there. There's this episode about the spell casting that recovers He-Man. There's like some jokes about these little creatures that briefly switch places with them because body swapping. Because Wonder Woman 84 was such an influence on culture that they had to put that in there. Yeah, that movie was terrible. But here, yeah, they didn't need that episode. They could have just said, okay, we fixed him. Because it was just them standing around not doing anything. The other ones, bad guys, are doing other stuff. They clearly had a filler episode in mind. That's what they filled it with. In this one, the king doesn't die. And this one, it's the other one. The other stuff happens. This one, Orko is barely dead. I think that but they do establish it's sort of a multiverse, like the other one is. And the Kevin Smith one exists in another part of that multiverse. And unlike the Marvel movies that have done their multiverse, this one works better because they aren't necessarily restrained by it to do the multiverse. They're in line with it, so it's not confusing. They don't need to over-explain it. They just go and do it, which would be how you do that, like with Transitions to Wrath and Draxus Lord Commander. You need to watch Transitions to Wrath first, and then watch Draxus Lord Commander to make sense. Yeah, Underground, and then you need to watch Redemption because that would make sense. But the rest of it, it's just whatever it is. Fallen Empires, Tragic Kingdom. Yeah, kind of need to watch Fallen Empires first. But other than that, anyway. So, but yeah, the 3 Beast Planet ones. Yeah, watch some more because they are kind of like the movie that came out. So kind of not really. So the He-Man thing. Yeah, now that tangent that has nothing to do with anything is over. Yeah, so it's yeah. I don't need to go over all the details of the episode. This show was on almost 2 years ago. And I didn't catch the ending of it, so I just had it left over with the Crass getting captured by the bad guy and not having seen the rest and didn't know how to end it. Great. But yeah, they rescue her and yeah, Skeletor turns on her and then she turns on him. Beastman gets upgraded, and yeah, the other ones don't. I guess they kind of implied that they killed the Triclops character. Yeah, I think they killed her. Messed up. But yeah, I thought the sword couldn't kill, but they killed him. Yeah, so it's interesting. But yeah, I didn't quite get that. Maybe that's not what happened. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, there's not going to be any comments, so yeah. Yeah, because it's so old. Why care? Although there's an interesting thing on the Revolution, not Revelation, but Revolution, He-Man Revolution, where they got Secret Galaxy in a podcast with some of those. It used to be Toy Galaxy, but he changed the name. And they interviewed the guy who played Orko from the Kevin Smith thing. So they have some details on the other stuff on Netflix. On there. if you want to watch that. I haven't done any stories with the He-Man figures, but I do have some of the ones from the 2020 line and 2021 line, and mainly He-Man and Teela and Sorceress. I have Teela and Sorceress and He-Man and Skeletor from the other one, and there's Battle Cat, of course. I got two different Battle Cats, one from the Kevin Smith one from the other one, but not from the newer one. I don't think I have a Crass action figure. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'll check that out. But they're put away in a box, so I don't know. Yeah. And although everything's put away mostly, I do have a Hordak. Classics reissue Hordak here. Classics reissue Hordak. Yay! Hordak. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so. And of course, I was Hera, Princess of Power, as I mentioned the other. He's not trans or nothing. He just likes dressing in drag as He-Man. I wouldn't actually do that at a convention. I don't think. I wouldn't actually do that. I'm not buff enough to play that character. Anyway, so yeah. So that's my, I guess, roundabout review. Watching 7 half-hour episodes in a day to watch the other one and get it over with. So I don't know what else there. I guess I'm gonna watch. I might watch. Well, not today, but I might watch other things like maybe No Mona. We'll see. It's a movie. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it was okay. It was fine. It was watchable. I mean, their dark imagery of Skeletor being a big demonic goat head guy with horns can be scary to some children, I guess. That was kind of scary, but other than that, when he's the kaiju thing trying to destroy all the universe, how is the heart in the universe literally floating above them in space? That was a little silly, but it's a cartoon. They go and close it. So the heart of the universe itself is literally floating in the sky, and they can get to it. That would suggest that Eternia is actually a board game, and they're at the top of the board game at the edge of the part where the characters are like a Dungeons and Dragons, like a Dragon's Lair a little too. That came too, and a bunch of other stuff, and so it's all to bring into the game and go. Something to do with those Marvel movies. Some of them with the weird hexagonal warp thing from Guardians of the Galaxy. They also have that. But yeah, and the magic is all silly. It's not like really evil or good magic. It's silly. It's made up. Yeah. Ooh. And then some of the good guys and the bad guys teaming up to try and stop Skeletor, and then building a bridge, their wall around the havoc goo that's going to turn everyone into zombies, but doesn't actually turn anybody into zombies. But yeah, this one Cringer has bionic toes when he morphs into Battle Cat. Just some odd choices, but that's alright. So there you go. Yeah. It was alright.